Today I'm going to talk about getting an extra dog or two or 5 or 10 in the family home, pet dogs, and what type of dog to get, but mainly, well, not really what type of dog to get, what dogs not to get. I'm going to talk about breeds and mismatching your breeds. Kushti, get out of there.
Oh, get out.
Yes.
Get
Come
out.
on,
Kushti,
out.
go away.
We've
Just
got
because
Kushti
you're deaf,
trying to join in on
deaf
the
and
cameras.
blind. Go
About to
away.
knock it over.
Go away.
Hey,
Go lie down.
go. Oh,
Go.
sorry, little Keely. Sorry. Time to jump.
Dogs, we
Yeah.
love them. All right, so
Anyway.
what type of dog?
Right, you're getting a second dog. Now let's say you've got a collie. It's a year old. Collies are very highly strung, need lots of energy. No, need lots of exercise because they've got lots of energy. They're pretty easy to train if you're going to put in some work with them. So you decide to get another dog. So let's say, what dog should I get? The daughter. She's always wanted let's think, a Jack Russell. I really want a Jack Russell, Mum. Oh, I will get a Jack Russell. They're lively, lots of energy. They should get on well. And you bring them home. Then they start growing up and they play great together because they've both got high energy. They both run around the garden. But they're like different beings. They don't communicate the same as 2 collies would or 2 Jack Russells would. So this is just what could happen.
Well, just expand on that. Like, don't dogs normally just communicate pretty much the same? They've got the tail wagging, they've got the eyes.
No, it's the energy and how they feel. It's like we've got friends. We're not friends with everyone, and we go to our sort of tribe of friends that think the same as us. Well, dogs have been bred by us to think in a certain way. So a herding dog thinks in a certain way, acts in a certain way. A Jack Russell's bred to go mad and killing rats, go down earth, bark its head off. So we've developed them so they're not all the same. They're not street dogs. So if you go over Bali, they all look pretty similar, and they're the same race of dogs, even though they come out a bit different.
You mean the street dogs?
Yeah, the street dogs
Yeah.
over Bali, that sort of thing. But we've created to think in a certain way, so they don't think the same. They're still dogs. It's the same as if I was brought up in a village in Africa. I wouldn't be thinking the same as how I've been brought up now. You know, that sort of thing. But even more concentrated, like tenfold different. But we could still communicate and still do the same things together, still play together, but we would fundamentally have different values and think differently. On the whole, you know, obviously there's exceptions to that. So they're playing around, and the collie's had enough of playing, and it tells the Jack Russells had enough. And the Jack Russells are very persistent. So he might carry on, and in the end the collie goes, get away, and gives a snap. Well, Jack Russells won't put up with a snap. There's, battle. that's fun too, having a battle. So attack the collie. Well, collies are pretty good in not fighting. They don't want to fight. They're not fighting dogs like a Jack Russell. Jack Russell loves fighting. They're one of the most fiery dogs there is. So, but when a collie starts fighting, they are fearsome. And their way of fighting is to grab and shake like crazy and really go mad. Now, they won't normally kill a dog, go through to killing a dog, but the Jack Russell won't give up. Jack Russells don't feel pain. So the Jack Russell won't get the message like another collie would. 2 collies having a fight, they have a big fight and it looks terrible and there's fur flying everywhere, and in the end one will stop and the other one will stop. Well, the collie's going to beat the Jack Russell. most times. But the Jack Russell doesn't want to stop. So it's going to go badly for the Jack Russell. And you're going to go out there and you try and stop them. You try and stop a mismatch of dogs. You've got a Jack Russell you can grab, but the collie's much bigger. And that's just one example of the extremes of how they think and how it can all go wrong. And it does go wrong a lot. I've seen hundreds or heard of hundreds going wrong. I've had it go wrong many, many times in my pack like that. The bigger dog will get the better of the little dog. Unless you've got a Staffy and a Golden Retriever. There's another example. The Golden Retriever's soft as anything. When it goes wrong and they have a little argument, I mean, Golden Retrievers are still going to argue with dogs, but they're really, wah, wah, wah. But the Staffy's not going to argue like that. The Staffy's going to go out to kill the Golden Retriever and rip it to pieces. And it's not just the fighting, which is one of the main things where you end up losing a dog, having to get rid of the dog. You come home and there's a dog half dead, and you've got a 10,000 plus vet bill, or your dog's dead. And what could be worse than that?
So what do you say to people that have a mixed pack but haven't had any trouble? Have had the dogs for
Lucky you.
2-3 years?
Lucky you. You know, you don't get to see all the ones going wrong. All you get to see on Disney World Facebook is the loving Great Dane with the little Chihuahua. And the Chihuahua bosses the Jane around and people laugh about it. Yeah, they always boss the big dog around. You don't see the dead Chihuahuas, do you? One Great Dane goes, woof, don't tell me, the Chihuahua's dead. But you don't get that on Facebook. Oh look, my Chihuahua got killed by a Great Dane. Isn't that a great story? There's another one, a client I went to see. She had 3 dogs. She had 2 collies and a pug. And exactly what they were running the fence line going for the neighbour. And the pug was the one that set all the collies off, but collies love that sort of stuff. And they're running up and down, and the pug leapt on and redirected to the collie. And the collie shook it around so much it popped its whole eye out. You know, there's $9,000 down the vets. And then from then on, because it's 2 bitches, the collie and the pug hated each other. Now, she could get the collie not to go, but she couldn't control the lady, couldn't control the pug, because the pug's got a fierce, like a bulldog spirit. So there's nothing you can do about it. It's heartbreak down the road. The pug's going to get ripped to pieces all the time, and there's nothing anyone can do to cure that. You either keep them totally separate, which is unreasonable, or you get rid of one of them. And that's terrible when that happens. And it's much easier. You're getting a second dog. You've got a Kelpie, get another Kelpie. Don't get a bloody, I don't know,
Poodle.
a poodle. Yeah. Don't get a pig dog, a pit bull. They don't go together. They don't exercise the same. You know, you get your little Fluffy and your Kelpie, you've got to walk them. How can you walk them? You can't, because you've got to walk the Kelpie and run the Kelpie miles. You've got to do 2 instead of 1. And then you get a third one in the mix, and it gets the dynamics go. Now, it can work out, but why make work for yourself? And the biggest reason to always have the same. You imagine walking along the street with 4 of these.
Oh, how cute.
How much better to look at, you know, as you're walking along. It's like having a fancy car, isn't it? Rather than this some old crap car.
4
you walk along with
papillons.
4 of them, everyone looks at them, oh, don't they look cute? All 4, all looking the same.
All well behaved.
Instead of our mismatched motley crew we've got. No one takes any notice of us walking through. But if I went walking along with 4 Kelpies or 2 Kelpies, everyone looks and thinks, that's a good sight, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing actually, because quite often couples get together, they have mismatched dogs, and they love their dog. What would you say to people like that? each
Well,
one loves the dog.
you
So
have to train them, but what I'm saying is, if you can avoid it, don't do it. And most people that got mismatched dogs could have avoided it if they picked the same breed again, to have the second dog or the third dog. Sometimes you can't avoid it. They go down to get a rescue. Oh, we've got a rescue. Let's go down. We've got a rescue Kelpie. Let's go down and get another rescue. Well, they don't get the Kelpie, so they get anything. Well, you don't want that anything, because that's the other thing. If I've got, let's say, I've got a big protection dog here. I've got to be really fierce with that protection dog to control it. Every time I go really fierce, little Keely goes, whoa, even though I'm directing it to the other dog, and it frightens her. So you haven't got the same energy there to control your dogs. You go, get back from the door, well, Keely, she's just standing there, and then the big one pushes or any bull breed pushes the limits, you go, boy, and then, wow, what have I done wrong? I said, you're telling them all off, but when they're all the same, they all respond to your commands. Like 5 fluffies are much easier to control than 5 different dogs. Even people think they are because they're all or 5 sausage dogs. Because you bring one in under control, all the rest go, whoa, because they all communicate the same, they're all thinking the same. That one's they're like blood brothers, that sort of thing. But when they're all different, it's a lot harder for anyone to control it.
So that's the key, really, is that dogs of the same breed will communicate with each other more clearly.
Yeah.
And so if you discipline one, like the leader of the pack, whether it's 2 or 3, the other one will fall into line, which wouldn't necessarily be the case with a different breed.
Yeah, and that's normally what happens. You can do it, but it's harder. And I'm saying make life easy, and particularly do not get a bigger dog with a little dog. Get the dogs the same size, the same strength. It's no good having them, a Kelpie with a Staffy, because they're not. You can say they're the same weight, but they're not the same energy. So because dogs do fight, I don't know anyone that's kept a pack of dogs and haven't had big fights. And anyone that tells you they don't, they all lived in harmony and never fought, never argued, it's not true. If they've kept them for a long time, kept dogs for a long time, because you might have 3 dogs and they're the perfect dogs, lucky you. And they've all live and die out. But you've been lucky. You only need one in the mix to set them all off that's wrong. But when they're all the same, that one in the mix you can normally control, and then you control all of them. Okay. So I think that'll do for now.
Okay.
Next time I'll talk about, what shall I talk about? I'll talk about going to school in the olden days.
Going to school with your dog?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
So it's goodbye from me.
And
goodbye from her.
Goodbye from her.